I think we're getting close, guys. All right, so we're live. All right. Thanks for joining this first live stream. Really appreciate it. I don't know how many people will be on it, and that not too many. That's okay. I'm going to record this, and we'll, as long as it's not a disaster. But anyways, I just wanted to thank you for joining the channel's first live stream. And when I say the channels, I also mean mine. It's the first one I ever participated on, let alone run. So definitely thanks for taking the time to jump on and checking it out with me. I have to say, I've run hundreds of WebEx and Skype meetings, but this one goes a little bit different. So what I thought I could do today, and is really just to make your time worth your while for jumping on, is really give you some idea or some new information that's coming out on some of the big and not so big upcoming IPOs that we're watching and waiting for this fall. So I have a list of them, which I'll go over in a few minutes. Thoughts with this first live stream that we could also talk about a little bit and answer some of the most common or unique questions or comments that I've gotten. So I will do that, and then I'll check in with any comments or questions from the live chat. So if you have something you want to add there, I probably can't check it as I'm doing this, at least this first one as a newbie, but I'll definitely get back to those. So that's sort of what our plan will be tonight. I don't know how much time we'll be on here. It may not be very long. It might be more. It just depends how much you guys have for me. But really, first of all, the main purpose for the live stream is for me to thank you and everyone for watching and subscribing and helping me grow the channel to over 1,000 subscribers. The idea for the live stream came actually from a comment from someone in the community, and that's Steve, who's definitely on tonight. So Steve, thanks for the idea and thanks for being here. I thought it was a great idea when I read it, even though it was a little nerve-wracking to think, how am I going to do this? I've never done it, but I'm glad that you gave me the idea, and hopefully it'll go well, and this may be something we can do more often. So again, just being my first live stream, just really hoping it goes well, and I'm excited about it. So anyways, tell you a little bit about the channel. We reached 1,000 subscribers in just under 4 months with less than 40 videos. And from what I could tell is, when I decided I was going to do a channel, I did some of the research and to tell you what you think you should do, whatever. It seems like we're doing pretty well, and it took us a little while to figure out, where we've headed. What's caught on has been the stocks and the investing, and particularly the IPOs. So that's good. Now I'm getting a little comment saying my connection is unstable, so I hope you guys can still hear me. But anyways, we had 1,000 subscribers as of last week. And then as of today, which is less than a week later, we have 250 more. If you subscribed after watching my videos, that means you weren't looking for someone to tell you what you should do or to be a fan of a particular company. It's because you're wanting information to help you make the best decision for yourself. Because if I'm not here telling you what you should buy, stand ways, and give you some of my own thoughts I've been investing for over 20 years, so that you can take some of the information that I've seen, and just do it. No, I knew that would be part of it, but it's cool that we've gone this way, and I'm excited about it. I'll tell you a little bit more about when I get to some of that I've had, a little bit more about my background. So if you hang in there, I'll go over that as well. But honestly, the biggest thing I always want to say is, I can't predict the future of stocks. So I will, if I could, I would tell you buy this one if I knew it was going to happen. But since I can't, I'm always going to respect you to do what's best for yourself. So anyways, cool. Thank you guys for jumping on. Really appreciate it. Information. I just wanted to go over, and I have a list here, so I'm going to just read through it. But it's companies that have filed for IPOs. They haven't set their terms for their offering yet, but they are ones that they're going to be coming out in Snowflake. So I did that small video just saying, that they filed, but there's going to be a lot more information on that one. There's so much interest in that company that we'll be doing a more thorough video. So just hang in there when we get more information. Typically, we're looking probably at least a couple of weeks before that happens. None of these we have IPO pricing yet. They're usually amendments to the S1 filing that I pulled. So hang in there for that one. Steve already asked about Palantir, and that's another big one. Palantir, for those of you that may not know, it's a data analytics company and platform that focuses on the government and financial sectors. Company has sort of been considered a little controversial due to its work with the government and with ICE, with the immigration. They also work a little bit with the IRS and things, but it's an interesting company, and beyond the politics of it, which that's not the purpose of this channel, but it's a company that does a really lot of cool things, if you're from a data perspective. So that's one we're definitely going to be talking a lot about. And so what I would expect is when I know it's going to happen, I'll talk about that on IPO this week, but then we'll do a follow-up video on that one. The company, interestingly, is a direct listing. And that means that they're selling it right to the public. So they, what that means is there's no underwriters. And in the past, and Steve and I were just sort of going a little bit at this in the comments before we jumped on live, there's been a new rule that came out, which I'll probably share this with you on the next IPO this week episode, talking about direct listings. And really what it is in the past, like you could just go in there, but there was actually one of the benefits if you were an existing shareholder that was trying to sell your shares to the public. You weren't diluting it by having new shares come. When you use a new IPO, usually you have 20% new shares come along, and that actually dilutes the risk of your shares. Well, with a direct listing, that hasn't. But the problem with that is you aren't really raising capital. And so this new ruling is finding a way to let people raise capital. And so what I'm interested in, and we'll just know this, is if this is sort of a response to all of the SPAC activity that has really come out. And as you guys know, SPACs are something I've not really been into, but I know there's a lot of interest. So that's continuing to evolve as I continue to learn more and know better how to report it. We'll do that. But anyways, that's it's an interesting thing. So Palantir is going to go with the direct listing, which I thought was very interesting. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Some other ones, and again, I won't spend so much time talking. We'll get through them. But Unity Software, that's a company that provides a real-time 3D video game development, the largest manufacturer of fresh food and beverage packaging in North America. Asana, that's a big name. Probably we spend a little bit of time on that one as well. It provides enterprise task management and collaboration software. That is also going to be a direct listing. So again, that'll be an interesting one, especially with these new rules coming. So we'll see how that goes. Amwell, it's a company that provides a telehealth platform for insurers and patients. And telehealth, bringing some of that technology, that's what people like to see right now. JFrog, that's a big one. A lot of you guys are probably familiar with that one if you're on this, watching my videos on this channel. It's a company that sells software tools that streamline app development. So we'll be keeping an eye on that one as well. We have a phase 1 biotech called Metacream. They work on developing therapies for liver metabolic disorders. We have Stepstone Group. Stepstone Group. They're a global private markets investment firm. Sumo Logic. They are a company that provides on-demand cloud log management solutions to enterprises. So again, we'll keep an eye on that one. Vitru, leading provider of distance learning in Brazil's post-secondary digital education market. Never heard of it. As we get closer, I'll learn more about it and I'll share what I can find out. Next one is, we got a few more. Corsair Gaming. They design and supply personal computer and gaming hardware components. And so again, a little bit more on the tech side. We have Outset Medical. They provide a dialysis system for kidney disease. So again, we'll look at that one. That's not an industry, and it's an industry that's already there. So I'm just wondering what they do that's different. Intrusion, a company that provides family of software products for enterprise security. Green Power Motor, they are a Canadian manufacturer of battery electric commercial vehicles that include transit buses, school buses, shuttle buses, double specifically for commercial vehicles in Canada. Let's see, a couple more. Athira Pharma, a stage 2 and 3 biotech focusing on stopping neurodegeneration in the brain. Another company that's sort of jumping on the bandwagon of Chinese EVs, and that's GOZ Holdings. So we'll look more into them to see what they do that's different than some of the other ones, if anything. And then the last actual IPO that I have confirmed is Dyn Therapeutics. It's a preclinical biotech developing therapies for muscular diseases, such as myotonic dystrophy type 1 and Duchenne muscular dystrophy. So that's the list that's confirmed. My guess is some of you are probably thinking, where's Airbnb? We know that one's sort of been out there all year. The pandemic definitely affected that. What we know, or what I know right now, last I've heard, is that they have apparently sent a draft filing to the SEC, and that's being reviewed. So wouldn't be surprised if we don't hear sooner than later that they're actually getting it filed. Okay. Then there's a few SPACs, again, just to mention, just to let you know that are out there. I think these ones are ones that are probably some of the names that are out there that are probably most familiar. One is called Executive Network. The interesting thing about this blank check company is formed by Paul Ryan. And if you guys know politics a little bit, he was the former Speaker of the House. Another one is Tortoise Acquisition 2. It's actually the second blank check company formed by Tortoise, and they are targeting energy and industry at this point for this SPAC. And then Sandbridge Acquisition, they're targeting a consumer business, so that could be a lot of different things. And then Software Acquisition 2, targeting a software company. And then the last one I have for you guys today, Good Works Acquisition. That is another blank check company targeting a business that this time they're looking for financial distress or restructuring. So they're looking for a company that they can actually get better. So that's the list of what's coming out. So I thought it might be helpful to share that with you guys. So I see the live chat's picking up, and I will go through these in a second, but I thought what I would do, and I'm seeing a connection is bad, so I am sorry if you're having that. It's my FiOS, so I should not have problems. You guys are still hearing me okay. All right, so that's the list of the companies that are coming out. I thought what I would do next is just go over a little bit about some of my common questions I've gotten and share that, and then I'll go through the comments, and then we'll see what's out there, if I can answer anything for you guys. One of the things that that come up, which I would ask to, and I think about common questions or interesting questions I've gotten is the question is, who am I? Who are you on this channel, and what's your background and whatnot? And what I would tell you is my background is not a financial advisor, and I am not a professional stock analyst. And I say this on every video, so you guys don't think that. My background is actually, I'm a doctor of occupational therapy, and I've been that for 25 years. And really for the last 10 years, though, I've been really more for, in many of those years, I was a department manager. The last 10 years, I was actually traveling pretty much across the whole country, training other therapists, which I really enjoy doing. I love teaching. I mean, if there's one thing about my job, there's a lot of program development, but love teaching. And I was doing a lot of traveling until February, and then that came to a stop. As you guys know, a lot of traveling came to a stop, which really gave me some more time. And something that I really thought about for years was about this, YouTube. I've learned so much from it, and I thought, is there something I could share? So when I started the channel, it was to be more about teaching people things that I knew. And that could be a variety of things. It could be rehabilitation, which obviously is my career. But I've also been very interested in stocks and investing, and and I've invested learning basically from my own over 20 years ago. I started before the .com. So when I look at the analytics for the channel, I see most of the people, probably 90% of the people that are subscribers are younger than me. And so what I try to do is just give you what I think is the analysis that says, don't think it's all going to be great. There are some bad things about some of these companies. So while I won't tell you what to buy, I will say, these are things to maybe look out for. So again, that's where the channel has gone. Obviously, the stocks and the IPOs, particularly the IPOs, is what really caught on. And this is probably a crazy reference, but I think of the Joe Dirt movie. If you guys have ever seen Joe Dirt, where there's the guy who's trying to sell the fireworks, and Joe Dirt tells him, it's not about what you want or what I want to do on the channel. It's really about what the consumer wants, and you guys are the consumer. You're taking in the content, and really the interest has been in the IPOs. And so I enjoy it. So if that's where the focus tends to be, that's what I'm going to do. And so that gives you a little bit of background about the channel. Another things that get a lot is a question that comes up quite often is, why can't I see the ticker of an IPO on my trading platform? There's a lot of reasons for that. The biggest one is some of them it's just not available until trading starts. And And it's usually more for the platforms or the brokerages that aren't involved in, they don't have any pre-IPO shares. And then the other thing to keep in mind is that most of your IPOs, the day that they start trading, don't usually trade at the bell. Usually it's an hour and a half, couple hours later. So if you go on there and you're not seeing it, it doesn't mean you're not going to have it. It just means it's just not available. And there's so many different brokerages and trading platforms that it's hard to know the answer, when you ask that or when anybody asks that, but that's usually why you're not seeing it. And then how do I get shares at the IPO price? That's another common one, and that's a tricky one. I don't have a brokerage that ever gets anything at an IPO price, so I never can get that. You have to really be involved with a brokerage or an institutional investor or the underwriters. So one of the big common underwriters are Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs. They're ones that do a lot of the, they help move the IPO along basically because they're underwriting it. So a lot of times you can, if you're involved with them, they might offer some of the shares to you before the IPO. You can get at that price. Some other brokerages, I know Robinhood and Webull have been, have really grown, which I don't use. I probably need to just open an account just to learn how to use it. But they sometimes will get them and sometimes they won't. So it just really matters. Now, what I will tell you guys a lot of times is from my experience of talking to many people is that if you have pre-IPO shares out there that someone's finding them for you, it can be concerning because usually if it's going to be a really hot IPO that they think it's going to come out of the gate strong, probably not going to be available. So I'm not saying that's always a consideration, but that's just something I've heard. So something to keep in mind. And then just a couple more before I sort of go to the chat here. Should I buy this stock? I can't tell you that because if I knew, again, I was on it, and then that's up to you to make the decision. I'll never tell you to do it. Where do I think the price will go is another common question. I just don't know. If I did, again, I would share that with you. You can probably tell if I'm sort of for it or against it by some of my responses, but a lot of times I won't do that. So anyway, so that's some of the common questions that I get, or just give you a little bit of background about me. So, I hope that was helpful. Let me take a look at live. There seems to be a lot of activity going on there. So I'm just working from the bottom. And I get a question, from Steve, my buddy Steve. Kevin, how old are you? All right, before I answer that one, if you guys want to put a couple numbers in there, take a guess, I'll tell you. Let's see here. All right, I gotta ask, one of my favorite commenters is on here. And I'm gonna say this because I don't know how to say it, but Flimsy Indo, am I saying it right? Is that I don't know how I say it? Give me a yes or no. That'd be a good name. Let's see here. Okay. So many things here. Any thoughts on metals? That's a great question. I just in the long run don't think it's there. That doesn't mean that there's people that made a lot of money on metals. I just don't get into them. So I don't really have anything that would be helpful to share. It's a great question though. I see Captain Private, who I just had responded to a comment earlier today. Thanks for jumping on. I really appreciate your comment, and I really, I'm glad that you found the channel. And again, and I'm not perfect, and this is why the live stream is hard, because I could talk and whatever. But one comment I got before too just made me think of this was what I don't want to do is do what I just do there, like I don't want to do that. I really want to get the information out to you as quick as possible. So to give you an idea, when I do a video, especially at the IPO this week, where I'm looking at maybe 6-7 companies, it probably takes me about 3 or 4 hours to write that up, and then to film it, within an hour. Like the video on Snowflake, I could have did for 20 minutes and told you the same information in 4. And I'm getting the connection again. I apologize, guys. Okay, it says I'm back. So let's see here. A Discord group. You know what? It's funny. I just joined one from another group, and that's a great idea. I might do that. So from Raj, I will say, honestly, you guys would laugh at me, and I've been investing probably since 1990, I don't know, 7 or 98. Graduated college in 1995, and paid off my school loans first, and I did everything. I was blessed to be able to stay at home with my parents. That I stayed at home with them. I definitely saved money, paid off. And then so I started figuring out like what I needed to do and learning to invest. And, and my family was very good they were very good savers, but didn't really have a lot of understanding with investing. Book made me learn anything. I started for Dummies, an Investing for Dummies book. It's one of the best books I've ever done. So hopefully that helps you. Joe Dirt, yep. So someone else saw it. Cool. All right, and then the question. Raj says 46. Andrew says 45. Julian, 47. Sean is becomes my favorite. He says I don't look a day over 25. I like that. Steve says 40. All right. I want to tell a quick story first, and then I'll tell you the exact. I don't have nothing to hide. I had a patient once. I was right out of school. I was about 23 years old. And I had a patient. She was there, and she goes, "I'm in here for my eyes." And I said, "No, you're in here for your heart." And so she didn't believe me. She was a little bit demented. So a couple of days go past, and we're talking, and she says to me, she goes, "How old do you think I am?" Well, of course, I knew how old she was, so I guessed a little lower to make her feel good. And then I said, "How old do you think I am?" So she looks at me, and she squints, and she's squinting right there, and she goes, "You don't look a day over 55. And I said, "Okay." I said, "You are here for your eyes." So anyways, this story, it's an awesome story. You had to be there, I guess. But I'm actually, let me see, I was 47. That's what I am. I'm 47. So time is getting away from me. But I'm glad most people didn't really go, like, say 72. So I appreciate that. What do you think about Rocket stock value? Hasn't gone up. I did not think Rocket, and somebody had asked in the comment what I thought about Rocket, what they would do. And Rocket, that was a great video, not because I thought it did anything special, just that it really got pushed by YouTube. I had 6,000 views, which is by far my highest one. So I know there's a lot of interest in Rocket. And but my thought with Rocket was, it's an established company, and there's going to be a lot of interest, and I thought it would do well. But it wasn't going to be one of those, Encinos that came out and being quadrupled. Like I just knew that wasn't going to happen. I think, when it comes to IPOs, it's come from the S1 filing because that's all we have. We don't have those rules. When you do an IPO and then you become public, you really have to follow a lot of rules with auditing. And of course, you don't know if that's really happening to that degree. I felt good about Rocket as a company, and I expect that the environment that we're in, though, I think right now they're doing well with the fees. They're getting a lot of refinancing and whatnot. Eventually, that's probably going to dry up to a point, and then they're going to have lower, a lot of lower rates on there. So I'm curious what it's going to do long term, but I think in the short to medium term, it's going to be a strong company, and I'll definitely want to see with their next quarter for the lockup. That's where I start looking and see, is it time to, if I have it, I sell. If I don't have it, do I want to check in and, get it, once the lockup expires. So anyways, it's a good question. All right. 51. Okay. I'm not gonna say 51. I don't like that one. But sometimes I feel like I'm 62. All right. Steve, I would never guess you're 57. You seem pretty good on this YouTube, so I would have guessed you were probably a lot younger than me. All right. Sean, I agree with you. I'll take more subscribers. You never know what you're going to get from the channel when you first start it. And, I didn't know what to expect. I just knew that I had learned stuff from YouTube, and I really saw it. And I really wish I understand more about it from a few years ago, and I had more time even then too. The last few years have been very hard because of the travel, but I enjoy it, and the more that I know people are into it, the more I'll put into it. My time it can be tricky from week to week, but I enjoy it. So as long as we can keep doing it, we'll do it. Yeah. All right, Flimsy. I'm saying it right. Cool. I see a lot of familiar names in there that have been commenting. I really appreciate you guys. I didn't know how many people would jump on here today. Let's see. I'm really having trouble keeping up with the comments here. Steve, question. I think this is a question you may have checked with me one time before. It keeps jumping on me. Release 3 or 4 video, 3 or 4, it keeps jumping on me. Shorter videos each week. That's what I'm thinking about doing. So right now, again, it's purely a time thing. And again, I am more than happy to grow the channel as long as there's a need and it makes sense to do it. Right now, I'm sort of on that. I'm going to do at least the IPO this week, which I know sometimes that probably frustrates some people. It's not more information, but when you get, the last couple of weeks have been lower. There's only been a few companies, but sometimes we had like 9 and 10. I can't get too detailed in there, but my goal is generally to do that one, and at least one more, if not 2, even though I haven't got to 2 most weeks. Some weeks I have, but that's sort of what my plan is to do that, and then to give more and pick it. And now, once you hit 1,000 subscribers, you get that. Now that I have that, I might start having some more interactive things like a poll saying these are the companies, which one would you prefer? And then whoever, whatever company gets the most, it might be the one I do a video on. So that's a thought I'm doing as well. It's a great question. But what I've also known is I've had some comments, and quite a few, that have said, you know what, they like it, just IPO this week at this point. I may always tweak it, hopefully continue to get better. But I also don't want to make something where you guys don't. Great. XPen, what do I think about that? I'll be first to say I didn't go in on XPen. The company itself, I think it's the niche it's going for. I'm a little bit concerned it's maybe targeting Tesla's type of demographic, but it's not. It's one I think that'll do well. My concern with XPen is with a lot of them. There's a lot of competition in China right now when it comes to EVs, and I'll be honest, I'm always a little skeptical investing in China just because I know of how the auditing is going there. So that's just a personal thing. Wouldn't tell you not to go into whatever. That's just sort of my thought. Let's see here. I'm sorry, guys. These are starting to jump around here on me. Getting a lot. Steve, you did well. If you started investing with 300 shares of Tesla, that's awesome. So let me tell you. So Tesla is a company that I own. I wish I had 300 shares of it. I don't. And one of the things I shared in the one video, which really wasn't watched that much, but it talks about the IPOs, ETFs, and SPACs. And I talked a little bit more about what I do. Tesla, to me, I know a lot of people have a negative view of it, but I look for companies that are unique in that they offer something that somebody doesn't have. And right now, Tesla is so far ahead on the battery side that even though there's more competition, I just feel, but you're doing pretty good if you bought it. Yeah. Well, in January, I'm trying to think, it was probably pretty high then, but it's nowhere near where it is now. You're doing good. What's your average annual return? Now, keep in mind when it comes to individual stocks, which is, I'll go from there because most of what I invest in is truly in your safer things like the mutual funds and whatnot. I have had stocks that I've kept for years, but I am not. I bought AMD in the late 90s. I held on to it for many years. I was way under. Now it's it's paid off. So that one I was down on for many years, and probably the only one I ever had that really was bad. I thought I would buy, and again, before I really got to my theory of how I invest, which is really focusing on companies that almost are like a monopoly in a lot of ways, strong companies. But I also invested in the late 90s. Again, I was just sort of learning. Zero by like half at the time. So I thought, well, I was getting rid of it finally. But I would say on most years, you know, I don't know. I've not really done it because most of what I said, what I have is in, as long as my overall overall, whatever they said, what's the word I'm trying to think of? You know, just my overall numbers are good and keep going up. I'm happy with it. All right. All right. So let's see here. I keep jumping around. Steve, no, I'm not monetized yet. We need more watch hours. That's the second part. If anybody wants to do a YouTube channel, you have to have 1,000 subscribers, and then you have to have 4,000 hours of watch time. So, you know, which obviously, if the channel gets monetized, we'll definitely, that makes it even more worth it for me to do more. You know, just trying to figure out, you know, the life work balance. But I can tell you that the way things are, I would love to do the channel full time if it ever got to that. You know, but we'll see. We'll see. Yes, the only thing I know about the Tesla battery show, there is a lot of expectation that they are going to announce that they have a 1,000,000 mile, or a 1,000,000 mile battery, so that it would last for 1,000,000 miles. I'm a little concerned about that. I mean, because I think if it don't show that, it might drop the price. But I would say that, which a lot of them are not IPOs. I'll be honest with you guys. Again, this really wasn't what the channel thought, but I like them. I look at them, and when they make sense, I do them. You know, Beyond Meat was one that I did well with. You know, that was a more recent one. I always tell you guys, I don't want to talk anybody into doing something, but I actually probably talked myself into buying into Albertsons. You know, I did some of those videos on Albertsons, and you know, I'm underwater right now, and I'm not sweating it or nothing. But that's not typically when I would buy. I think I just talked myself into it. But some other things, you know, that I do own. You know, I own Match. You know, for Match.com. Again, they're pretty much, they have that market, and for me, like that's a kind of company I've evolved to looking at. What do you do that somebody else can't or don't do it well? You know, flimsy. You know, we were going back and forth on cannabis stocks. And I have a friend that bought some stocks a couple of years ago. And I remember my thought then is the same I shared with you. You know, no matter what you think about cannabis, the problem is it's not an exclusive product. And so when I look at that, it's like you really have to excel in so many other ways because you don't just own it. Anybody can grow it. So just, you know, something else, you know, I think about when I'm investing. Captain, how long has the channel been out? It's been just under 4 months. Just under 4 months. Well, actually, it's been 4 months now. When I hit the 1,000 subscribers, we were just under there. We've been 4 months. It started at the end of April. So good question. Thanks for being a therapist, Captain. They helped me. Oh, well, I'm glad you're doing better. I love being a therapist, to be honest with you. A lot of patient care in the last 10 years, but a lot of what my job would do is I'd go and I still get to help patients. So I love doing it. Doing more of it like a consulting. And really what was crazy was a lot of that slowed down once March happened. Whenever other things, there's places you're not allowed in. So that was another reason I had time to start the channel. So good question. This social media, you know, it's a great question, Sean. I got up on the community page. Maybe it's the poll. What can we do? A lot of you guys are you on Facebook? Are you on Discord? You know, group or something? You know, I'm open. I've never done Instagram. I know a lot of people are into that. So I'm open, but no, I don't have anything else at this point. Steve, I agree. I like you want to see IPO information on companies that are expected to grow fast. And I think so yeah, I get that. Oh, he talked about luck and coffee. I'm sorry I brought that up. That was probably a little knife in the heart talking about. But it's an experience, and sometimes you learn about it, and you know, you hate to lose. You learn the hard way. But you know, we had somebody else comment early in the channel. This was before I was doing the IPOs, and was sharing some information to me on some of the Chinese companies. And this guy did really well. I don't know if you're on today, because I don't think I've heard from you recently in any comments. But I would never tell you not to do it. I just say just know what you're getting into, because there are some. Steve wants innovative companies. $500. What was $500? I missed what that is. Yeah, AMD. Wow. Professor, you know, I have taught college classes, which I really enjoyed doing. I always thought someday I would be a professor, but that just never. They didn't pay as much as I would. More videos is more watch time. Yeah, so that's the thing. I could do a video every day, but I want to make sure the quality is high. You know, I've seen other channels with, you know, and this is for everything, where you see people sort of stuttering around and like, I don't want to do that. And unfortunately, I'm not with some of these new companies. I just can't get there and just talk about them. So that's a little tricky. But if I can do more and I have that time, you know, I would definitely consider doing it. Yeah, if the price does drop because of the, yeah, I would say, you know, it could be, the expectations are high, and you know, who knows where it's going to go. And Tesla's tough to value anyways. Like, I have it not because I think it's a great value. I got it when it was when the market was dropping. I think I got it around 650, and I wanted to get in earlier last year. Probably like in the summer, it was around, I saw it like around 175 and I didn't get in. And then it was around 200 and I thought, well, it's going to drop because the sentiment on Tesla was very negative right then. Now, you know, it started going up. I saw the picture of the truck and I thought, oh, that's going to drop it. And it did for a day. And then the next day it was up. Then it was like around $900. I couldn't justify doing it. When it went down to the 650 mark, I said, oh, I got to buy some. And then I went up to 450 and I should have, you know, it's doing pretty good now at 2,200. But I think it is a stock to look for the opportunities. And if they ever get serious about the batteries and the you know, the tile of the shingles, like for energy purposes, like to me, it could be a game changer. Apple split. So Apple, both of those splits jumped it. And for anybody that has been an investor for a while, you'll know that there used to be also picked up Amazon once the market was down. It was, you know, again, another company, strong company, you know, huge in what they do, almost like a monopoly. I got them around 16 or 1700, and their high, I think before that was about 22, 23. So I got them near their low. I think they dropped another $50 to $100 when I got them, but that's a company I think is going to have to split too. But anyways, going back to your question about when they split, what I think is going to happen. In the past, they always jumped up after that, and that started to stop. And I think it came to, as some brokerages, you could do, you know, divisional shares now, which in the past you didn't do. So it was sort of priced out, but now people think that, you know, people get interested in that. So when you look at it and you see, I could buy something for $500 or $100, you know, $100 sounds better. So I think because there was a day, and I think it's near the mid to end of April, where it jumped up and I said, well, it's going to go back down. Well, it never did. So got out of that one. All right. Let's see. Yeah, and you know what, Sean, just to get your point, being a novice, like splits, again, used to happen a lot, and they just don't now. You know, how much of that is priced in right now, I don't know, but I know once they announced it, it jumped. So I don't think it's a company you have to worry about anytime soon. Now, the question is, with these valuations, they are getting high, but they don't seem .com high when you look at it. So maybe I got a question. I think it's a good one. From Andrew. Why does it keep moving on me here? Oh, hold on here. the trick is not to look at myself on the screen. Actually, I don't want to look at myself on the screen. For popular IPOs that you want to invest in, do you wait in case it spikes up high and then pulls back, or just set market orders and go as soon as you can? Great question. And this is just, again, just for me. I try to get the sentiment of how the, I try to get the sentiment of before the IPO negative, and that actually that is a negative in some ways. But if the interest is there, you know, if they come out at a price close to what the IPOs were priced by the underwriters, who, you know, I feel they have. But if you see if it comes out quadruple, like, I'm probably not jumping in, because first of all, I don't know if the numbers that they shared is even accurate. Unless I really believe in the company. If you think it's going to do well, like, there's no reason not to get it. Like, I don't want to tell you, if you think it's a great company, like, whether you spend, you know, $20 a share or $30 a share. Now, if it comes to $200 a share, you might want to wait. You might want to wait a couple of days. There's a lot of people that are technical investors where they try to figure out after a few days after the IPO to see, okay, when it gets to a certain number, it tends to, you know, people tend to buy, gets to a certain number, they seem to sell. You can sort of get a range that way. I'm not, technicals, I think are very interesting, but I've always been more of a fundamentals, like what's about the company, what's the environment that they're in. So to be safe is to think about in your mind before the shares go selling, what you're comfortable paying for it. And you can set that and stick with it. It's hard when you see prices go up. You just got to do what you feel is right. Like I said, I can't tell you what to do. It's a great question. I wish I had a great answer. Steve, you're out. All right, thanks, buddy. TikTok. Yeah, learned a lot about TikTok because of so much information. All right, definitely we'll look into these. Amazon apparently isn't splitting a split, but I think splitting it generally makes it more interested to the general public. So, and anytime you get more retail investors involved, I think is a good thing. Why I never thought Berkshire never did it, I don't know. And, you know, I would like to believe it's not because they were trying to exclude the small retail investors. I'd like to believe that, but I don't know. I know the reasoning why. You know, I guess to not split from the company's perspective, they have to spend money to do that. But from getting more interest in the company, I think a split's not a bad idea. All right, we're getting Sean. Thanks for your comment. Yeah, we'll. This has gone better than I didn't know how many people. I thought maybe 2 people would show up, so I'm thankful that you did. What we'll do is I'll finish up with your question, and then we'll call it a day. And the question is a good one. Proud moments in your investing career. Anything you wish you knew earlier? That's a good question. I really wish I would have thought about my strategy. Back in the early days, I saw a company drop, and I thought that's an opportunity to buy. And I told you that example with Xerox, like that was a mistake because it's an industry that's not going to grow unless they do something crazy, and they hadn't shown that they were going to get outside of copy machines. So a lot of that is something that I've learned, you know, proud moments in my investing career. Early on, I'll tell you 2, and it's the same one. There was a company called ExtractWorks. They're still out there. I still have some shares of them. I should have sold them all. That works. So anyways, I bought Extreme, and it did fantastic. I was reading about it. You know, it was right in that era in the late 90s. It just, you know, early 2000s just made sense. Made a lot of money on that one, and I kept half the shares. And I thought, well, this is good because no matter what it does, you know, if it keeps going up, I feel like I'm covered. Well, I learned I probably should have sold them all. That one has been lingering from about, I don't know, $3 or $4. So, but anyways, the reason I was proud of that one was because that was sort of one of my first earliest ones I ever did. And it actually, I had buying my new house at the time, and it paid for pretty much all my furniture plus. So I don't know. So, all right, I see one other good question, and that's from Michael. And Michael, you've commented a couple of times. I know you were waiting for Snowflake, so I'm glad you're here. Flimsy, great point. I'm going to close this after this question, but it's a great question. So, no more questions. But with the unemployment and small business failing, tenants not paying rent, homeowner not, do I have any concern about a market crash? I absolutely do have concerns about a market crash. I think the market, while I'm not saying that the values overall I don't think they seem super high. And I think the big companies have done really well because of the Fed. There's no question that the Fed has put in money and made things easier with basically 0% loans. The small business, they aren't doing as well. And as we know, like they had their program that came to an end now. And I know people that work for small businesses, they're not getting their full hours. And these businesses, some of them haven't opened. I just feel like while the market is not about the economy, at some point, if it's a percentage of people that can't buy stuff, that's going to hurt. I'm not sold on that. The problem that I have, though, is like you're afraid to miss out. And so this is probably one of those times where you just have to be very smart with doing what you're doing. And like Tim said, market crash equals good time to buy. I agree. That's what happened, in early March. I started buying. I bought things on the way down ways. And I still look at there's basically two companies that do what they do. So I bought them, and they're higher than where I bought them, but they have a big issue with the design of that aircraft. But anyways, but a market crash is time to buy it. The question is, do you think it's going to happen? I thought it was going to happen already. I didn't think we were going to have to go back to where we were, but I thought we would be getting about 10% correction. And so that tells you how much I don't know or can't predict, and which is why I never tell you guys to buy, or what I think a share price will go to. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end it with that. I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for jumping on. And I have to think, if you're on this stream, you're probably some of my best subscribers, and a lot of your comments, I can tell that you guys have commented. So really appreciate you being on here. We'll definitely do this again. Again, I'll continue to work the channel. I have that community tab. I'm going to do is get some more input, and I'll explore what would be the best, best way to do some social, social networks, and we can really grow and hopefully develop where we can. It's not just me talking information, more of us sharing it. So with that, I will tell you guys have a good night. Thank you again, and I have my episode of IPO this week coming up early next week. I'll see you then. Have a good day, guys.